Free audio post-production by Alphonic.com.
Welcome back. Jesus is Lucifer. I'm trying to tell you. I'm not making anything up. I'm not lying to myself. I'm being as sincere as I can be. What I have found is that there is a trick embedded in this whole tradition. It tricks you into lying to yourself, which then invalidates any offer made as far as you get to win this prize of everlasting life, life without struggle, and so on. Liars don't get to heaven. Whether you're lying to yourself with knowledge or not, according to the Bible, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So you don't get to win. Nobody does. You have to be a liar in order to follow it. It's a trick. It sets you up. It tells you this elaborate story where snakes talk and you got to kill your own child. It gives you all these way out scenarios, and then it's essentially asking you, do you believe? Do you believe that a donkey stood up on its hind legs, lit up a cigarette, and started speaking in sentences? Do you believe that? If you do, there's something wrong with you. And if you don't, you've got to stand up and say, no, I don't. I can't believe that. Snakes don't have vocal cords. How can a snake talk? The problem is that we're not looking for truth. We're looking for salvation. And that's how it's getting us. That's how it's duping us. That's the lure. We're not looking for the truth. We're looking for one, salvation. Two, humans at our this is kind of the early stages of our development. We have this big ego, and we love being told that we're special. That's why this term chosen people is embedded in the tradition. I'm one of the chosen ones. I'm special. I'm better than all those other people out there. This is how it's luring us. It's tricking us. I always talk about the clues. There's so many clues to what I'm talking about. Do you know that Jesus, who walked the earth some supposed 2,000 or so years ago, on 3 different occasions, he mentions that to the people talking to him, there will be those of you still alive when I return with my kingdom. That was 2,000 years ago. When's the last time you seen a 2,000-year-old person? There will be those of you that are still alive when I return with my kingdom. He says it 3 times. Again, our ego won't allow us to see the truth, won't allow us to see what's right in front of us. We don't want to give up this special role that we've been told we're getting of being a chosen person. Egomaniacs is what we are, to the point that we are blinded by these rewards, by these glossy, shiny, bright rewards that the God of the Bible is telling us we're going to get. We're blinded by it. Have you realized that the word devil is just the word evil with the D put in front of it? The D likely coming from darkness. The Bible calls the devil the prince of darkness. That D was put in front of the word evil, and how you get devil. God's son. God's son. Most of us know, any of us that have done some reading on ancient history know that ancient people from the time before Abraham's religion came up, they worshiped the sun. And sometimes it was called God's son. God's son, meaning the son, became God's son, meaning my child. And I'm bringing this up to illustrate how this has been constructed. This has been constructed, right? I mean, it only makes sense. This makes perfect sense. God's son, what is now what we look at as the Son of God, meaning the child of God, started from the Son. This is pretty obvious, really. It's pretty obvious. There's this wordplay that comes into place with this tradition. It tricks you in so many ways. Psychological misdirection. Psychological sleight of hand, you could say, is what is being used against us. Psychological sleight of hand. A life without struggle, reconnection with our lost dead ones. It's taking advantage of that. It's taking advantage of our desire for that. And again, the desire is not bad. It's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with us for being who and what we are. But we're being taken advantage of. This tradition was put together to take advantage of us. It's very clear when we're seeing beyond the bright lights. Some of the simple philosophical elements to all this, right? We're going to look at some of the simple philosophical arguments to be made. And it's, again, simple. A lot of this stuff is very simple. What sense does it make that a God that knows we're going to rebel, God knows everything, he knows we're going to rebel. Why create us anyway if you're not sadistic? If you know everything, you knew that Adam and Eve were going to rebel, why not go back to the drawing board and get that all cleared up first? That's a simple philosophical reasoning, to have. I mean, I can create something. I can create life, right? Let's say I'm using a computer. Sims, they used to have this game. I've never played it, but I've heard of this game where you can kind of create cities and I don't know about creating people, but something along those lines. If I have the capacity to make it right, doesn't it make sense that I would make it right? If I know that there's a flaw in my design, why wouldn't I iron that out first? Simple philosophical debate right there. How can a loving, knowing God, he knows everything, how could you then create your own mortal enemy? That's ludicrous. I mean, the way that we receive the Christian tradition, for sure, Abrahamic traditions on whole are off. But in the Christian tradition, specifically, we're told that God created everything, including the devil. So you create your own mortal enemy? What sense does that make? The universe is divided between these two figures, and one of them created everything, including the devil, which is funny because if you read the Bible, God mentions that he created evil. God created evil. Why the devil is being held accountable for everything going wrong, I don't know. These are clues. This is a clue. There's something wrong here. How can a loving God create evil? Again, I'm saying again, one of the aspects of me being me, I have a tremendous imagination. I can imagine having the ability to do whatever I want. And if I can do whatever I want and I can create a universe, what need is there for evil? Why would I create evil? I want everything to be happy and pleasant. I want this to be a good time. Why create evil? Unless the person or the being that's being purported as the creator of all things isn't what it's claiming to be. Jesus is Lucifer. The Bible is a trick. The God of the Bible is Lucifer. What's the use in thousands of years of child molestation? A lot of it done by the church. What use is there in that? Rape, murder, genocide. These things have gone on for thousands of years. And it's funny that the Christian tradition, a lot of people in the Christian tradition point to atheists, point to everything outside of themselves as why the world is the way it is, when it's them doing all the fucking bad shit. It's always Christians. It's always followers of Abraham killing children. Always. Everything big in our recent history, every time that there's been some sort of a genocide, some sort of a mass murdering, and I'm going to be careful, I'm saying always, it's not always, but most of the time, is followers of Jesus. Most of the time. Jim Jones, I had brought up in a few videos ago, I talked about a lot of the different massacres and things carried out by followers of Jesus. I didn't mention Jim Jones, in Africa, follower of Jesus, mentions all these people to drink poison. Remember David Koresh? Was it David Koresh? The Waco incident? Followers of Jesus. Why wouldn't a loving, wise God simply kill the devil? Why are you killing your son? If I've started off a civilization, I've said, follow the story. I've created angels first, and then I get around to creating humans. Those first two humans that I created rebelled. They rebelled because one of my previous creations, his name was, they call him Lucifer. What was his name? I think Azazel. That's one of the names of the devil. I forget what the original name was, and I'm not even sure if I know what the original name was. But anyway, he created the devil before he created humans. But why not just kill him? Why kill your son? You've got the power to do whatever you want. Why kill your child? It's a trick. The entire story is a trick. You are being beckoned to stand up to the God of the Bible and say, no, I won't stand by this shit. This is ridiculous. You're telling me to go kill old women and little children with no mercy and no pity? You're telling me a story where the all-knowing, all-loving creator of everything is going to kill his child instead of killing the devil? That you say is the reason for everything? Why create homosexuality if you hate it so much? The Bible mentions how God feels about homosexuality like 7 times. He hates it. Why create it? Why make that an option? It doesn't make sense. And again, it's rife with things that don't make sense. Why not just kill Adam and Eve? Why not you don't even have to kill them. You can just let them die off. Okay, no food for you. Let them die off. And you start again. No, instead I'm going to allow thousands and thousands of years to go on with human beings cannibalizing each other and stabbing each other in the back, ruining the planet, spilling oil in the oceans, cutting down all the forests. I'm going to allow all that rather than just letting these first 2 morons die off. No, the Bible's a trick. Lucifer is the God of the Bible. This shit is a trick.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.